Okay. For clipping, sure? Anybody? Okay, anyway. So, when we talk about clipping, di ba katumatong part nga gi-clip out or gitanggal, and then ang na-retain katong wala gi-clip. So, in memorandum, the last part or the back part is clipped and the front part is retained. So, this is what we call back clipping. Okay? So, memo is just a clipping of memorandum. It is not an abbreviation, take note of that, but just a clipping. Memos are used for internal business communication. Take note of the word internal. Letters are used for external business communication. Normally, memos are less formal than letters. Take note. Memos are less formal than letters, but it does not mean that it is informal. Remember that, ha? Again, memos are less formal than letters, but that does not mean that memos are informal. Formal sila pareho, it's just that less formal lang ang memo. In short, or in other words, mas formal lang ang letters, but both of them are formal writings. Okay? Memos are internal correspondence written by employees in a company to employees in the same company. Meaning to say, ang sender, both the sender and receivers are under one company or employed in one company. If you remember, memos are sent for giving information. So information are sent to people within that company where the sender is also employed. Okay? So they belong in one organization or one company. Okay? For example, I as the program head of the BSE department, I can write a memo to the faculty under BSED, all of the teachers who are under my department, I can send them a memo. So we belong in one company. We are all employees of the same company. Okay? That is the purpose of memos, giving information to people in the same company. This was mentioned during the time when we were writing, when we were discussing about persuasive messages. So one of the type of good news is memos when one will be giving information on additional special holidays, for example, or additional benefits for the people or for the employees. Okay? Updates on schedules, kana sila, those will be addressed through memos. We have the term identification lines. This is one of the formats or elements, one of the elements of memos, identification lines. Identification lines normally have this particular parts. We have the date, the to or receiver line. We have the from, sorry kanang director, ubos na sa Alberto, sa pangalan. Okay, usually ang from kana siya position. Subject, pero not at all times. Subject, which is kung unsa tong topic or kanang message as a whole dito sa content. Okay, what is the subject matter? Ang format, however, sa memo, pwede pa na siya madugangan. Ang format, however, is designed by the company. Dili ko pwede magbuhat og ako-ako lang tapos ang i-represent nako kay ang tibuok UM Peña Plata. No, I cannot do that. So there is one format for UM Peña Plata, also for the entire UM. So dapat i-follow to siya. So it is created, it is designed by the company itself. Dili kabuot ang employees. Same with letters, memos have letterhead. Nana sila yung mga letterhead, especially because it represents a company. So basically, naana sila yung mga letterhead. Pero, Again, pwede ra wala. Depende sa formatting sa company. Pwede na pwede wala. Pero kung i-require sa kumpanya nga kailangan na ay letterhead, i-follow na siya kay mao man ay format nila. Again, dili man magbuot ang isa ka tawo sa format sa memo sa entire company. Because it is the identity of the company. Okay? So here is an example of an identification line. Or yes, identification lines. First, we have the two. So the people who will be receiving from CC, date, and re. Okay, ma'am, unsa nang two? Wala lagi na diri sa pikas. Okay? Wala lagi ng CC. Okay, again, as I have said, pwede na ay changes sa format sa memo. Depende sa company. Okay. So for example, ingon ano yung format, nasa'y to, nasa'y from, pero naay CC, tas kaganiha wala. Naay uban walay CC. Now, what is CC? CC means carbon copy. Unsa man ang carbon copy? Ang atong pagsabot sa carbon copy, if you have noticed, pag carbon copy, kanang for example, moingon nga, hala, tahay na nanganak, carbon copy kayo ni mo imong baby ay. So murag ang ginapasabot is kamukhang kamukha. In memos, on the other hand, that is not the meaning of CC. CC means that there is somebody who will also receive the memo or who will also receive a copy of the memo. Ang kanang CC diha, dili na siya apil sa to. Okay? For example, sa 2 nakabutang didto, deans and directors. Na didto ha, deans and directors. Ang nagsulat sa memo kay ang, for example, ang president or ang vice president sa UM, entire UM. Tapos ang iyahang padalan are the deans and directors or branch heads and deans. Paguman sa CC, pwede niya ibutang didto to all faculty and staff. If you have noticed, ang all faculty and staff, wala siya dito sa 2. Okay? In that case, kung naapay mo receive sa memo or dapat padalaan sa memo, nga wala na butang sa 2, dito siya ibutang sa CC. Okay? So, that is the meaning of carbon copy. Mura siyang indirect receiver sa memo. Okay, so inana siya. Next is we have the date. Of course, remember ha, same with letter. The month of the date should be spelled out, not written in figures because again, there is no agreement as to which comes first, the day or the month. Okay? And then re. If you have noticed, walay subject dira. The re there replaces the subject. So, pwede ta magamit og re, pwede ta magamit og subject. If you have noticed also sa email, pag mag-email ta, naapod na re nakabutang. Bantayin ninyo pag mo reply mo. Naanay nakabutang na re. Tapos, dili na to ginatagad. The re means regarding. Regarding. So, pag may tag regarding, we are talking about something. For example, regarding the issue of teenage pregnancy. Mura siya, the subject, if we are going to restate it, we can say it like the subject matter or the topic is about teenage pregnancy. So, regarding replaces the word subject. Okay, so ayaw mo kalibog ana. Re or subject, either of the two will do. Okay, now we have the memo format as I have said. This is identified by the organization. Body is keyed flush with the left margin, a triple beneath the subject. Take note, tulo ka spaces from the subject saka pa ang body. Tulo ka spaces before ang body, after sa subject. Okay? Tapos flush left. Naka-justified na siya niya. Nasa left naglinya tanan. Text is single-spaced within, same sa letter. Single-spaced within paragraphs. Pero, pag, for example, sa first paragraph, Nag-single space ka within the paragraph. Nag-add ka another paragraph. Two spaces sa before ang next paragraph. Pero single space gihapon within paragraphs. Basta kay before ka mag-proceed sa next paragraph, leave two spaces. No complementary clause or signature block is required in memos. Take note of the term required. No complementary clause or signature block is required. However, as to the format of the organization, it can be provided. Pwede. Okay? Pwede pwede wala. Again, depending on the format given by the organization. Write simply signs or initials, his or her type name in the from section of the document. So since na may from dito sa identification lines, pwede na walay signature block and complementary clause. Mao na to siya silbi signature block katong name sa from sa identification lines. Question so far, nabay pangutana? Maklaro ba kung tingog, by the way? Okay. Nasabtan to about memo? Okay. So we have here an example of the body of the memo or body of the text. So if you have noticed, walay indention, unlike sa letter nga indented. Memos should not be indented. Flush left siya, meaning naka-align tanan sa left. Okay? Tanan gyud na sa left. So, ingon ana siya porma. So, again, pwede na ay complementary clause kanang sincerely, mao na siya ang complementary clause, di ba? And then the signature block, pwede wala na siya, pwede pud siya naa. Usually, ginatatakan ra na diretso. Okay? Or seal, depende sa format. Again, depende sa format. So, we cannot create our personal memos. If we can write our personal letters or emails, we cannot create our personal memos. Unless, natay kumpanya. Or, employed ta sa isa ka company and we are holding high positions. Okay, natay mga constituent kana pwede ta magbuhat og memo pero dili personalized. Okay. Next, let's proceed to emails or electronic mail. These are electronic version of communication that is gradually replacing, take note ha, hinay-hinay lang. Gradually replacing, meaning it's still on the process, pero wala pa. Wala pa napulihan ang letters ug memos, pero naay possibility nga maundang ang letters ug ang memos kay naa na may emails. And we all know that nowadays, mas preferred sa mga tao ang electronic mails kesa sa printed letters, especially kay pandemic. Pag mag-apply og trabaho through email, okay? So, ingon ana siya. So, it is slowly replacing the printed memos and letters, but it does not replace it yet. Wala pa. Buhi pa ang letters. We are still printing letters and memos. Although, ginasend siya as electronic format, PDF, pero still, ang format niya, letter gihapon og memo. Di gihapon siya ma-consider as email. Okay? So, emails have become primary method for communicating within and outside organization. So, mo lang niya ang kanindot sa email. Pwede sa both external and internal. Mo lang na ang advantage niya. Pwede ko mag-email sa akong constituents, pwede po ko mag-email sa tagagawas. Wala problema. So again, emails is rapidly becoming one of the world's most important means of communicating in business place, especially nowadays, and especially in the spread of globalization. Okay, so syempre we are the Filipinos are partnering with international businesses, and in that case we are trading, and especially nowadays that we cannot go out from our country that easy, they are using electronic mails. which is a very effective and efficient way of communicating when it comes to business. Emails, again, as I have said a while ago, can be external or internal. Pwede siya both. Employees can email each other within a company and or email vendors, clients, and colleagues outside the company. So, emails use identification lines like memos. Money similarity sa email, memo. Yes, sa email and sa memo. Both of them have identification lines. Okay. Now we have here an example of a new composed or the format of a new composed message. So when you click the compose button, you will come across this dialog box. So we have the recipients, which is katong receiver, katong two sa identification lines, subject, etc. Okay, so we have here sample email components. So again, depende gihapon ang format ha. Pwede madugangan ni, pwede makuhaan, depende sa format sa organization. But say for example, we have here sa email ha, we have the from, we have the to, we have the CC. If it is for internal, di ba ang email can be both external and internal. If it is internal, meaning to say within a company, it should follow the format of the company. Pero if it is external and it does not represent the company, if it is a personal letter, it does not have to follow a certain format. Okay? But if we have to be formal, if we want to be formal in our email, ang format sa email is as simple as combination sa memo and sa letter. So we have the from, the to, the BCC. By the way, what is BCC and what is CC? Ang BCC, nasa number 5, another person receiving the email without the sender knowing. Take note of that ha. Number 5, another person receiving the email without the sender knowing. Meaning to say, wala siya kaila kung kinsa nang tawhana or bayhana kanang Jackie. Murag somewhat like gisugo niya si Janet ay si Frank nga i-forward ang message kay Jackie. Okay, mo na BCC. Content of the email ang number 6. Okay? And then, mo na siya ang sa subject. Or katong reng, nagiingon ako kaganiha. So, mo na siya. Common naman ang uban. Attachment, number 7, attachment. Kung unsa tong i-attach ninyo, ibutang ninyo dito kung unsa, for example, nag-attach mo dito resume, ibutang ninyo attachment, colon, resume. Para makabalo sila nga nag-attach ka og resume. Okay? Next, kana siya, we have the greeting or opening. Again, dili good morning ang greeting. Salutation ang ginatawag nga greeting in letters and emails. And then we have the body of the email, the closing or complementary close. Tapos we have the sender's name and title. Pwede ta mag-add ha, like Janet Hugs and Director of Publicity, kana iyang sender's name and title. If internal, if external, pwede ra wala kung external. Kung internal, syempre, you are going to represent, actually kung external, pero for example, nag-email ka sa DepEd, ako, for example, ako, employed ko sa UM, mag-email ko sa DepEd on behalf sa UM, represent mo na ko ang UM, so ibutang na ko akong posisyon, and ang company address, telephone number, URL, or website address, and social media link. Again, pwede na ay walaan nila. Depende, unsay available, unsay kailangan, unsay required. So, depende lang siya. Okay. Here are the benefits of emails. Number 1, we know that emails allow a writer to instantly communicate with a reader. Dali na lang jud kaayo sa panahon karon and affordable naman ang load good. And most of the people are using Android phones. So even if you do not have your personal unit or your laptop, you can communicate with other people through email. Dali na lang jud siya kaayo. And then we have numerous, it can be sent to numerous readers at the same time. So unlike letters nga kailangan, for example, lahilahig office, madto ka sa office of the registrar, madto ka sa dean's office, madto ka sa director's office, madto pa jud ka sa program head, daghan kay kagaduan, just because you have to submit all your letters addressed to different people. Okay? Pero kung through email, perte na lang yung dali you will just sit and send it to everyone at once. So it's very efficient. It allows writer and readers to chat with each other online. Of course, instant man ang pag-send, instant ang pag-receive, instant ang pag-reply. So we can create a conversation right away. Next, it makes real-time dialogue possible. As I have said, we can create a conversation right then and there because it is instant. We can receive it for as long as we are online. Mo-notify lang na siya, okay na. Okay? It means no telephone tag. Unsa man ang no telephone tag? Pag moingon man gud ta og emails og letters ug memos, kailangan nag-contact number. Okay? Kailangan tawagan para pangutanon, okay, unsa man ning info, etc. etc. Tapos pag di pa gyud mo tubag, tawag na pug balik, pagkaugma manawag na pud. Unlike sa email nga no need na. You will just wait for a reply, tapos pag nag-reply na siya, ikaw na pud, tapos mo reply na pud siya. So, ingon ana siya ang advantages sa emails. Next, of course, everything that exists on earth, everything, object man na, technology man na, whatever, it has its own advantages and disadvantages at the same time. First, highlighting techniques are not possible in email. We can highlight in letters. Pwede na to i-bold ang theme, pwede na to i-bold ang date, pwede ta mag-italicize, etc. Sa memos, pwede pud na mag-highlight, mag-bolden og letters, mag-italicize, unsa pa na, i-blacken ba nimo, whatever. Pwede siya. But for email, dili siya applicable. Okay, mo lang na disadvantage niya. So you cannot highlight. Instantaneous communication hinders the writer's ability to double-check facts, effectively proofread text, and achieve the correct tone. When we are writing emails, instant man siya, we only have, if I'm not mistaken, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, or 5 para ma-unsend ang isa ka message. And then pag na-send na siya, pag naay mali dito, for example, mali ang pangalan sa receiver, wala tayo mabuhat pag na-send na. So, mo na isa jud sa disadvantages. Kay we cannot check it again. We cannot double check it. Especially kay sakit sa mata. Unlike pag i-print nimo tapos i-review nimo, ay nay mali. Edit lang nimo tapos print ug usab, okay ra. Next, common problems sa emails or grammatical or mathematical errors and offensive terms. Again, because less editing time man siya, kay gusto man tagdali, gusto man tag-instant, so dili kaayo ma-correct ang grammar and ang mathematical equations, for example, or mathematical information, number, mamali kag type, mamalig spelling, matuldukan lang gamay. So, anong mga ingunana? Those are common problems with emails. Especially pag phone ang gamiton kay nabay mga phones nga mo autocorrect. Nya mali di ay ang outcome, autocorrect nya na mali. Next, people don't like scrolling endlessly. Email should abide by the WYSIWYG factor. Unsa man ni siya? Okay. We have to shorten, as simple as shorten our letters. Ana lang. Write your letter shortly. Dili pwede nga taas kayo. Kapoy scroll oy. Unya sakit sa mata tutukan ang screen. Kung unsay point mo na to sa dapat. The biggest problem in email is lack of professionalism. Mao gyud ni number 1. Unang-una, kung moingon tag professionalism, dapat ang signature is original. Tapos sa emails, maglisod tag attach og signature. Kung naa man, ambot unsaon. So, mo na sa lack of professionalism. Actually, ang pag-apply gani online, kay medyo informal application gani siya. Okay, but anyway, let's proceed now to the similarities among letters, memos, and emails. So, when we talk about letters, diba, it is external, memos are internal, emails are both external and internal. Monay difference nilang tulo. But all of them have an introduction, body, and conclusion. When you write something, dili ka mo dire-diretso og sulti sa information. You have to introduce the topic and then explain, conclude. Letters, memos, emails are clear, concise, accessible, accurate, and it should achieve audience recognition. Muna'y common sa letters, memos, and emails. Kailangan klaro, kailangan ang kanang dali lang basahon, accessible, dali ra makita, sakto, and maka-attract og audience, and at the same time, makasabot ang audience. A wonderful value of the slowness of memos and letters is that time lets us correct errors. As I have said a while ago, there is a disadvantage with emails when it comes to correction or correcting emails before sending it. But when it comes to letters and memos, pertirang dali wala naman yung uban. Dali mag-edit, and it will give us enough time to correct mistake. Okay, that's the advantage of memos and letters. Okay? Mas hinay, mura ba siya kanang motto nga slowly but surely. Hinay-hinay pero sigurado, langay pero sigurado. Ang email, dali, pinaspasay, instant, pero daghag mali-mali. Okay? So, mana siya. Any questions? That's the end of the topic. Nabay mga